What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Eagles, Super Bowl champs. It feels good to say it. We're going to talk about it. Let's go.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we're brought to you by our doc. Make them yours. That's Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, location in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You know where to find them. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Tell the doc the boys from A2D Radio sent you and say, go Birds to them. And she said, go Birds to the doc. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about. Struggling Sixers take on the Nets. That was a disaster. I mean, maybe we'll bring up doom and gloom at the end of the show. Can the Eagles run it back? Here we are. We're already talking about it. We'll recap the Super Bowl, give you our favorite moments from the Super Bowl. But let's talk about our poll question. Get right into it. I don't even know if I introduced everybody. I think I might have skipped that out. That's Noah Eaton. That's Ryan Alizik. That's Mike Heel Chrome. I'm not even doing you, Chrome. I don't know why I even went full government on you. I'm Tom Arnone. I've never done that to you. Have I ever done that to you in the years? Are we going full gov?
Every now and then you'll pull out a Michael Chromiak on there, but not often. Okay. It doesn't happen often.
Wasn't coming out clean. Tell you that much. I mean, I'm forgetting. This is how jazzed up I am. I'm forgetting to even tell anybody who anybody is. You know what I mean? We're all semi-public figures. You should know all of us. If you don't by now, that's on you. But our poll, this defensive performance cements the Eagles' defense as the top 5 defense in the 2000s. Do you agree? Disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly, how you not joining the conversation and talking with us tonight. I mean, this is gigantic. This is everything we talked about. And to this defense we were talking about before we came on, I absolutely agree. When you talk about the best defenses of the 2000s, you're talking about Baltimore. In 2000, you're talking about the Bucs in 2002, right? And you're talking about the Seahawks in 2013. All right, there's other good ones mixed in there. Okay, but come on, look what they shut down. We talked about Patrick Mahomes not turning the football over, right? 9 straight games without a turnover. It tells you, or 1 turnover in 9 games, whatever it may have been. Doesn't matter. He doesn't turn the football over. That's why he wins a lot. And we take the ball away 3 times. And the way if you had eyeballs, if you could see, if you can see, if you ain't 2020, don't talk to us tonight. But if you got eyes and you can see what we all saw, which is pure and utter domination, and you were talking about not blitzing 1 time, you don't want the blitz, and you dominate like that with 3 guys or 4 guys because your back end's that good, no pun intended. I mean, it's that good that you can get away with that too. And this wasn't even covered sacks. They were because they were trying to get the ball out early. But in reality, we were getting after him quick too. There was no hezzy there. And he could feel it early on too. Early on, you could just feel it's a different physicality, right? It's a different level of physicality when you're talking about this team. This is what we talked about, guys. Let's not run from what we all talked about. Not many times on the A2D airways can we say we got it right. Not many goddamn times. I've done this for a long time. Not many times. Noah's been here the longest with me. Seriously, the longest. He's been here from the day that the lights turned on. All right? Not one time have we been this right. I mean, in 2017, I felt like I was this right because I was like, this is how curses end. So, I can say, oh, I nailed that one. Cool story time. But, right, that gives you a percentage of 2% in your career. Right? It's not a good percentage. Right? I'm not swinging it well. And we were spot on with this. 2017 was more like a hope. We came into this saying, who's better? And we led that off with the best defense I've seen in Philadelphia in my time as a Philadelphia Eagles sports fan. And not a defense that was expected to be at that kind of level. That's how good they were. They're better than 90s. And I'm not saying anybody's better than Reggie White. I'm saying, but it's better than that defense. It is. You have to break the news to the old school guys. Okay? Name a big defense in the 2000s that was better than this one. Because if there was one, they would have shut enough cats down to be hoisting it. That's how that works. There wasn't one. There was great players, but it wasn't a better overall defense. And I said it on Monday Night Show. Cooper DeJean changed the whole game. Because when you can cover in the slot at an elite level, you'll be playing deep into the season. That's simple. And he tackles like a linebacker and runs like a goddamn corner. So he makes every open field tackle, which has been an Achilles heel of the Philadelphia Eagles defense forever. And we swarmed in our football. It feels good to say this. So if you don't put us in the top 5 defense in the 2000s, I think anybody who says that is a moron. Right? When you slay a dragon, you slay a goddamn dragon in front of the world, in front of the damn world, and you expose, knock it off. And don't tell me they don't have this, that, and the third. Because they had plenty of weapons when they were winning. Shut up. Exposed. Welcome to big boy football, you little kittens. Welcome with the big dogs for all my cat guys. All right? Come sit with a big dog. It's you. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. We're coming back for a second one, too. I'll answer that question before we even get into it. Let's fucking go. All right? The big bad wolf's back. We're back. Let's walk around like you do. Everybody talk. Everyone on social media. Oh, Eagles fans in. You know what? Walk with your chest out. The good ones out there. Walk with your chest out because you deserve it. You deserve it. Sat through a lot of ups and downs. And the Hoist 2 in 7 years, watch who you're talking to. When you talk about great organizations, watch your mouth. You ain't going to talk about my owner and my GM like that. Fuck yeah. Say it again. Sorry, go ahead, guys. I just keep going. I'm just not going to stop. That's what I told you guys. Nobody can make it. I was doing it myself tonight. I'm not jazzed up.
Yeah,
not handsy.
No, yeah, listen.
Sorry for the language, but sometimes you just need to clear the lungs out.
That's what you need to. And welcome, Luke, over here. Well, good to have you in, bud.
Good to be here. Appreciate it.
Real quick before I give mine, let's get highlight heaven over here. Thank you, gentlemen, for all the content this year. Whoa. I can always watch live, but always enjoy on my way to work the next day. It's been a fun year, boys. No notes. Appreciate you, highlight heaven, and everybody out there who's been commenting. Keep commenting tonight and hit the like and the subscribe. That being said, how can you not agree to the poll question? You really listed the elite defenses that we've seen in the last, really since the turn of the century, right? And I mean, what is the comparison that this defense gets across the board from all the pundits? It's the modern day Legion of Boom. They're young. Like you talk about when we went a couple years ago, right? When you had the Fletcher Coxes and guys like that. And then when we won in 17 as well, like it was a very different vibe. It was an older group, and it was just the right guys, the right mix. It was a very good defense.
Not great,
right? No, but I'm saying like right vibe. At that point, they won. It was right vibe, right time, right mix of guys. You got Chris Long, who had a little juice in the tank. Some guys who had a little prove it in them, with a chip on their shoulder, who were toss-offs of other teams, right? This time around, you come in and, I mean, you're talking – what did we talk about, Tom? What did we have an argument about freaking 2 weeks ago, right? It's big game experience even with the young guys. These Georgia Bulldogs, all of them came in. They, in the last couple of years, entered this team, and they were ready to eat. When you heard Jalen Carter talk on the field after the game on the NFL Network, he specifically talked about the rapport of this defense and how there's no cliques in the locker room, and how he talked about, winning a Super Bowl, like winning as he said, a natty, right? National titles is something special, but winning a Super Bowl and being able to do it with the guys who you've been doing this with all along, not just the guys on this football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, but the guys who he was in the trenches with on the other, probably the second most bet football game in the entire year, which is a national title game, multiple times in Georgia. There's something to be said for that. right? We have the guys who came in, the veterans who had the experience 2 years ago, and those who didn't had the experience together on a national title in multiple national title games. It's just there's something that we talked at your, Tom, we were at your house over the weekend, and one of the things, and I know we were talking, I just said to you, I don't know what it is. And I know last week I think I gave an 11-point differential, but I said I feel like this game might be a blowout. I kept knocking on your wooden cabinets and stuff because I didn't want to jinx it, but I was like, Noah might be right. This might be an absolute slaughter. And when we talked about why, one of the main things was that offensive line had no chance against this defensive line. And I love how they talked about
Bingo.
And I loved how they talked about how Jalen Carter is a guy who could step in and he can be an absolute dog and he could take over a game and he could be all for himself to pad his numbers. You could tell that he went into that game knowing he was going to be the guy that was focused on. And he allowed that to happen so that, Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and everybody else, Nolan Smith, were able to get to the quarterback. And guess what? He got his shot in when he had an opportunity to do it. He made sure he sent the message to Patrick Mahomes that this ain't like a defense you've played at all this year. This defense it's hands down the greatest. And I mean, we've seen great defenses. The Buddy Ryan defense were amazing in this city. This is by far the best defense in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's not even close. And you're talking about defenses that had Jerome Brown, Reggie Weiss, Eric Allen, and all these guys. Eric Allen, congratulations to him, long overdue for the Hall of Fame. It's just a wild thing, 100%. I couldn't agree more. They might be top 3 since the turn of the century. You're on mute, Tom.
Yeah, not that matters, but they are. You know what I mean? Like they are top 3. Like Baltimore's 1. I'm not going to debate that with anybody.
To me, it's Baltimore, Legion of Boom, and then them. I don't know who else.
I even think it's better. Like I even think it's better than Legion of Boom because, like, who they play? I don't remember who they play.
They beat the shit out of Peyton Manning, and they had the number 1 offense that year in the Super Bowl.
They played Aaron Rodgers during that time.
Yeah. I mean,
that's who they
the year they beat Denver. Denver had the number 1 defense number 1 offense in the league, and they shut them down the same way we shut down Kansas City.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is
I think that Green Bay game was like an overtime. It was something like that where they didn't catch the onside kick. They dropped an onside kick or something like that.
Yeah, you know how much Peyton Manning moves? It's about as much as I move right now. So I'll say
that offense was amazing.
No. And they stunk the next year. And they stunk the next year right after.
Oh, he aged overnight.
Yeah, he did. He might have aged in that game. The game might have aged him.
It's
close. That those two are debatable because you're stopping a dynasty right there too. So it's like the impact of the win.
Yeah, we're going 1-1A.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's that one's so hard to debate because they were different. They were a different style.
But to me, they're top 3 though.
That's all that matters. 3. That's all that really matters. Top 5 was the question, so you agree too. So keep circle jerking this one around.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta agree too. I hate. I don't have anything else to really say. Like. The close, I want to add in. I know you said like the 13 Broncos. That 15 Broncos defense, that defense was disgusting because they played the Panthers. Yeah. They played the Panthers in that Super Bowl. The Panthers were blowing everybody out, and I think Cam Newton scored 10 points. So, that defense was pretty good, but this defense was by far the best Eagles defense I've ever seen in my lifetime. And everybody's coming back pretty much. We've talked a little bit before. We got Zach Bond's got to get re-signed. Dude's an all-pro. What an absolute steal Vic Fangio finding that dude was.
Well, I saw Bleacher Report was projecting him at 3 years, $36 million, which sounds about right. And that's not astronomical. And I think, and a lot of people think that they'll re-sign. How he's a cap magician. They'll find a way to bring him back somewhere around that number.
Well, this is crazy.
I'm not worried.
This is crazy. Real quick. This is crazy. So Ravens would be 1, right?
Yeah.
the 2002 Buccaneers have like 7 Hall of Famers. I feel
Yeah,
like.
they were pretty loaded too.
Yeah, like
That,
they
if
beat
you
us.
listen to John Gruden talk about that, I think they probably deserve to be ahead of us just
Yeah,
because offensively they almost had nothing. And you used to talk about like our defense would score
That's
touchdowns.
fair.
Like
yeah,
that.
that's
Like,
fair.
yeah.
I
They
might
beat
yeah,
us. They beat
That's
us
fair.
to get there.
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, their
Oh.
offense wasn't much.
Don't remind me about that.
Sorry, Ryan.
title
Sorry,
game.
guys.
Yeah.
I was reading
No, we're
something
good.
and I forgot.
No, we
all
got
about
2
them.
titles since then. We can go. It's okay. We can put that in the past now, buddy. We're good.
Yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, I'd like to forget Ron Knight Barber too. That's actually my first football memory. That sucks. But hey, no, this defense is absolutely elite. There's, you got Quinion Mitchell somehow fell to in the 20s wherever we got him. We somehow got Cooper DeJean in the second round. These guys who were labeled, maybe like not necessarily busts, but like not great pass rushers. Nolan Smith had a slow rookie year. He was insane on Sunday. Same thing. Josh Sweated, I think 2.5 sacks. He was eating. Jalen Carter was, he's probably the best DT in football. If he's not one, like the guy he played against or was on the other side of the ball, did effectively nothing for the Chiefs the other night. So, and Chris Jones,
Got to rub down.
yeah, just absolute domination all across the board, and you're bringing pretty much everybody back. And they're all young. Obviously there's going to be changes over the next couple of years, but if you keep the majority of those guys around, like I don't think Slay's going to be back next year, but you get another corner in there, you get somebody else, and you're bringing 10 defensive starters back as long as you can make the cap work. This defense is absolutely insane, and I'm looking forward to continuing to watch them. Hopefully, for the next 5-6 years. So
that's why it's great. That's why it's great because it's not over.
I kind of think Slay might be back, just because he had a phenomenal year. He works really well with those young guys. He doesn't try to be like the number one corner anymore. I think he knows what the point he's at in his career, and I think that he's really been important for those young guys. But you guys, you brought him up a lot, right? And Ryan, you referenced a couple of them. We're going back to all these defenses, and it's what wins. It's an offensive league, but what constantly wins? We went and we talked about the number one Peyton Manning offense getting destroyed by the Legion of Boom in the Super Bowl.
What do we say? Week in and week out.
Defense wins Super Bowls.
Defense is travel. We talked about this defense like 5-6 weeks ago, and we said, no, I'll travel where you want to go. Like it got to a point where they were that good and not elite, and we could see it because it was earlier on. Hey, they do a great job of getting off the field on third down. That was their MO. They tackled well, right? But they weren't really taking the ball away a lot, which was fine. So they were doing it sort of under the radar. Make sense? They were just really good, and nobody talked about them. And then the turnovers started to happen, right? Right? Then the ball hawking started to happen. And when that started to happen, they went from just really good to elite quick. And like we said, where do you want to go? You go to Detroit? I'll go anywhere you want to play us because that's how confident we all were in this defense. And
there has never been a Super Bowl in ever where the defense didn't blitz a single time. Not one time in this game. And wasn't it brought up a couple weeks ago that Vic's got to come up with some creative things on defense and try to get you got to try to get to Patrick Mahomes and this, that. No, they didn't. You know what they need to do? Play their position that their Hall of Fame caliber defensive coordinator put them in. And guess what? They thrived. They didn't defer from what they did all season. You know when the one time they deferred from that was, Tom? Where they started throwing a bunch of blitzes at a team? It was the game against Washington that they lost in Washington. That was the one game where Vic strayed from what they did all year, where he tried to throw Jaden Daniels off. And I think that game, because Patrick can be not as elusive, but Patrick can be elusive and extend plays, I really believe that game was the game where they said, never again. We know who we are and our identity. We're not going to overthink it like we did against Washington and let them get back in it. And we're going to beat this shit out of Kansas City's front. And we're going to make Patrick Mahomes have to make decisions quick.
Yeah, well, it's really simple. When you like great players win games, right? So it's as simple as that. Like schemes are cute and all that stuff is cute, and you can scheme it up all day. But when you get your ass kicked up front, there ain't a scheme in the world that's going to beat that one. They try to screen pass, right? Thinking that they were going to pull something cute, and Jalen Carter sniffed it like the first panties you ever sniffed in your life. I mean, it was a sniff city. All right, it sniffed out like a freaking dog. He's like a junkyard dog. He's a dog hunter. Wherever what are the hunter hounds?
I thought he might have killed Mahomes.
He's like a blue hound. What is it? Greyhound? Not a greyhound. What is it? What's the?
I cackled when he hit him like on that one shot that he got. I was just laughing because he just hit him.
I thought he might have killed. I thought we might get Carson.
I was shocked they didn't throw a flag. I was shocked. Not that I thought it should have been, but
I mean, that's been a flag that they've thrown for them over and over again. So I kind of, especially when how the game started.
Yeah. Ooh.
I was like,
that was fucking ridiculous.
I was like, this is not going to be what we're going to start here.
No, I said to my dad, I said, yep, this is over.
Fix is in.
I said, fix is in. I said, I don't even like saying that, but I don't like that call one bit. One bit on fourth down. And then when we got it back, on the terrible Goddard call, I was like, we're back. We're back. Because that was terrible call.
That was definitely that was
bad.
That was a makeup call. I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
for sure. And we appreciate it. We appreciate you seeing the game like we saw it. Appreciate somebody whistling down like, hey, why don't we give them one back here? I mean, find somebody doing something.
No, I want to run through what the defense did in the first half real quick, right? So Casey got the first pass of the game was a first down, then 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, pick 6, 3 and out, interception, 3 and out, halftime. That was
Thanks for coming, Pat.
Absurd, absolutely absurd. Then they punted to come out of the half. Another turnover on downs. It's 34-0. And they finally decided to score. So there you go.
So after you rattled that off, I'm counting 9 possessions the Kansas City Chiefs didn't sniff the scoreboard. I mean, hell, how many? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Kansas City only crossed the 50 once in the first half.
Yes.
Once.
They even did that.
It might have been even in the third quarter.
I think it was in the third
quarter.
There
you go. Even better.
Because did they only have like 13
total they had 23 yards?
Well, so Andy's an idiot. Andy's an idiot too. Andy's a moron before Luke and Noah go. Andy's a moron. This is where can the real Andy Reid stand up? Because if you had any opportunity or any chance in the world to hang in this football game, right? And I said it, you got to be able to run the football.
Absolutely.
You got to take the fight to them, right? You cannot go the other way. He ran the ball one time in the first 3 possessions. So, are you out of your mind? You're going to go against we talk about a bunch of dogs up front, a bunch of guys that you better take the fight to them, and to go the other way with it, and not even attempt to run the ball. 1 carry for 2 yards, and that's it. That's the Andy I remember.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think like Kansas
that's
City.
Why they lost, right? But
I'm saying, like, I mean, you could argue though that's why that they were taken out of that game so early because really, you took the words out of my mouth, Tom. That was like Andy Reid is such a better coach now. Like I'm shocked. I was actually shocked at what I was watching because that is what we had seen in that stretch of 4 NFC Championship games where Andy just refused to run the football when it was so clearly obvious that you can't just keep trying to sling it. It's not happening. You need to try to change it up.
Not against this defense. Like
it was
you can do that against Buffalo when Elam stinks out loud as their second corner. Like you can do it and expose teams who have weaknesses. There isn't a weakness on this defense. There isn't a position you're like, oh, I'll attack there. Reed's a great cover guy. GJ's a great cover guy. Darius is a great cover guy. Quinyon's a great cover guy. Cooper's an elite cover guy in the slot. Right? Zach Bowen's a great cover linebacker. Right? Where are you attacking? So the only attack you have a chance to consistently try to like impose your will a little bit will be running the football. A little bit. Like it was 7-0 after the first. It wasn't, it didn't get out of hand until the pick. The pick made it get out of hand, but it was 10-0. It wasn't out of hand. It wasn't out of reach. Right. And they were playing from snap one like they were still playing against Buffalo. Like they never got out of the Buffalo game. So, and they had no chance of winning either way. But you got to try to rally your troops throughout a 2-week period of, everybody talks about how physical they are. Right. Well, we're going to go take the physicality to them. And your game plan when we come in, you know what? We're going to run the ball. Kareem Hunt runs the ball hard. Pacheco runs the ball hard. You got to
At least Pacheco was a stud last year in the Super Bowl. He was good against us. I mean, they have had good running games against us in the past. And listen, I have to say this, like for years I've heard people who are Kansas City fans in the Kansas City media, and if anybody's in this chat, I'm going to say it for you here. For all the years where you people said, why did the Eagles let Andy Reid go? A, I think the message got stale. B, it's because year in and year out, what you saw only this one time in a game is what we saw in every big game in the Super Bowl, minus the 1 year we got to the Super Bowl, minus that 1 year. And honestly, we had T.O. So, I mean, really, you could just sling it all over the place.
I mean, even the greatest of coaches, guys, their shelf life expires. I mean, even the great Bill Belichick in New England, right? Now, his happened to be longer than everybody's of a lot of the great coaches because he has 6 rings for a reason, right? All right. But look what he did when Tom Brady went out the door. Not much. All right. If you don't have talent, obviously it's tough to win. But when you take, you look at Andy Reid, I mean, yes, he's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach, all that.
He's a top 3 coach all time.
Right. Exactly. I can't take that away from him. But the bottom line is when you get mauled the way his offensive line got mauled, you got no shot. No shot.
What we say the poll while we're at it.
While we're on that, I absolutely agree to the poll. And especially when you take into account the rules today are so much or even more catered to offense than they were in 2000, 2001, 2000, the early 2000s. So, I mean, granted, we had some great Eagle defenses in the early 2000s too. All right, but there's no doubt, considering the rule changes these days and considering if you breathe on a quarterback, it's a fucking penalty. There's no question. This is the never mind top 5. We'll go top 2. This is just below that 2000 Ravens defense. I mean, these guys are damn good. And to be able, I mean, when you look through the course of the season here in 2024, I mean, you go to Cincinnati and hold Joe Burrow and company to 17 points. All right. And here's one for perspective. Now, I know Dak missed both games, but against the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles gave up a combined 13 points in those 2 ball games. Combined. All right, now I know the Giants sucked this year, but a combined 16 points the Giants scored against us. And they played us twice. Okay?
Why don't you just go to the second most physical team in the National Football League? Because I'll go there. I'll just go look at the Baltimore Ravens. They're the second most physical team in football. And we went in there and smacked you around.
Yep.
Smacked you around. You want to talk about physicality? Here's some physicality for you. We out physicaled what I consider is the 2 most physical fronts in football outside of us. Right?
Agreed.
It's crazy.
I mean, we played some prolific offenses this year and shut them the hell down. I mean, granted, down in Washington, Jaden got us a bit there and got 36 on us. But, I mean, whatever. If Devontae doesn't drop that pass, we win that game. But whatever. That being said, we got our revenge in the NFC Championship game, and for the most part, held Jaden in check. So
they can have the week whatever game.
Yeah, they're right.
It's for you guys.
Yeah, that was their gift. And Jamar Eagles, he brought up a good point earlier. I know we're talking the defensive side of the ball, but he brought up bringing in a veteran OC who is a former head coach. I wanted to toss this around if we have time later. But how about maybe bringing Frank Reich back? No.
I'm good.
I like
good?
him as a quarterbacks coach. I don't know if I like him. It's
As a
just, hey, if you just want to get back into coaching, if that's what you want to do, I'll
Right.
take him as a quarterbacks coach.
I mean,
but
I don't think he's trying to be a head coach again. To be honest with you, he's 63 years old, and
he's close. He's close with Nick, right? Just to like touch on the quick. He's close with Nick. Got a relationship there. Nick loves him. He's obviously part of that staff there with Nick. Listen, I'm not against it as an offensive coordinator. I'm not like, oh, no way, right? Because I think it'll bring stability because he's not going to go look for a head coaching job. So I think if you're looking for like 2 to 3 years or maybe even 4 years of stability for Jalen, if you're looking at that way, then I think Frank's a good Vic Fangio type hire. Because sometimes when a guy takes a year off, 2 years off, whatever it may be, they can reflect and they can sort of change their scheme a little bit. Listen, we watched Frank do it in 2017, right? As an offensive coordinator, he showed he can do that at a high level, all right? As a coach, that's a different conversation. It always is. But when guys show to me they can do that at a high level, I'm always open to the conversation. Right? That being said, they're going to hire within. It's going to be what's his face, Paul Otto,
Patullo or something.
Patullo, yeah, it's going to be.
Kevin Patullo.
Just to respond to that real quick, I'm going to give the other side to this, and that is that I don't need Nick to be a play caller, and I don't think that's necessarily what he does. And although it worked very, very well that year that we won the Super Bowl, I think that was an admiration because I've seen what he can do as a play caller after that, and it hasn't been good with multiple.
Yeah, but how many? Couple things, right? Not that you're wrong, but how many times do you see the head coach try to do both and fail? It happens all over the league. Everybody who wants to do it ends up not having a job, either job. So anybody who tries to like pull that stunt, their teams aren't good. It's the guys that are willing to say, hey, that's your job. Do your job at a high level, right? And that's us, right? Nick oversees it all, and he has his guys, trusts in his guys that do it at a high level. Doesn't mean you don't sit in on meetings. Doesn't help you don't help with game plans, but you trust this guy to call the plays on Sunday, right? And it's hard to give that ego-wise up to these guys. It's hard to give it up. Obviously, we saw with Frank. If I'm going to shop for the groceries, I'm going to cook the dinner. Or if I'm going to cook dinner, I'm going to shop for the groceries. So, I'm going to call the plays too. Well, guess what? Yeah, most guys fail at that. Andy struggled with it when he had to do it. You know what I mean? And I know he still says he does it, but it's not an easy thing to do for a guy's first rodeo. That's my point. So I know what you're saying, but also the other side of it is like he's the head coach trying to do it. How good is he when he just has to focus on that and not everybody?
I think there's just guys who do it because there's a lot of head coaches that do it and they have success. I think there are some guys who can do it and some guys.
I think he helped Carson a ton. Like I think in that little period of time because he didn't have Carson the next year, he got a head coaching job.
And Carson didn't really even play bad the one year he had him there. Like he got a lot worse credit than he probably deserved.
Carson was literally going to be the MVP under Frank Reich. So it's not like, and I watched a guy willing to change his offense. That's all my point is. Like, if I watch a guy adapt and being willing to adapt, I'll hire that guy again all day because I need guys that are willing to change. Like, I know what you're saying, Chrome. I'm not Mr. Frank Reich. Remember? I used to be like, guys, he's not the smartest guy in the room. He's not the reason we won a Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, he did change his offense with the help of Doug too, right? But they changed what they were doing to cater Nick over Carson. So, and that offense wasn't elite. There was Alshon, right? It was a good running game, but it wasn't like, and then Zach Ertz, right? It wasn't like, it wasn't even as good as this offense. No. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're going to hire with him, but Jalen needs consistency. There's nothing Jalen can't do. I think we're past that, right?
I've seen that thrown out there, Cotton Ball.
What's
bringing Dougie P in as the coordinator?
Let's go.
I have a more fun name than that.
Let's go. It's ruined it all. Let's burn the whole place down. Let's burn it all to the ground. Absolutely not.
I
And
gotta
love
tell
Doug,
you,
but no
I
shot.
I appreciate Doug so much for 2017, but I gotta say, I think Greg all these years was right. I don't think Doug's a very good head coach. I think he coached that specific team for 2 years very well, that core of a team. And I think a lot of that was how he put him in a really good place. And once the quarterback's mentality fell apart, he was not a guy who could pick up the pieces. I don't
No,
think he's
couldn't
very
do it
good.
for Trevor either.
I mean, Trevor has all the talent in the world now. He might stink too, though. Like, I might be on the bandwagon that Trevor
But
Lawrence,
it doesn't matter. It
by
doesn't
the end of
matter.
the day, stinks.
He's had 2 quarterbacks that he couldn't get out of their heads and couldn't clean up, and he's a quarterback guy. So but
thanks.
again,
He's
as
got
an
a statue here. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good on all these retreads.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm not down for Reich at all. I wouldn't be with that. I think a fun name that's probably unrealistic, but I saw it happen in Green Bay. Head coach at Boston College went down to become the defensive coordinator at Green Bay. Sometimes a lateral move like that will get you an unexpected opportunity. And also the college game right now is just a mess, and some guys just don't want to be in it anymore. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen.
Re-recruiting their players every year.
Right. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but you talk about familiarity with Jalen. I mean, I think that Lincoln Riley is a pretty fun name. Just to be like, hey, it's not gone well in USC. I'm getting killed every day. They're probably going to fire me if I don't have a good year this year. And I don't love the college game. Maybe if I do well in Philly, I can get a head coaching job. Yeah, Lincoln Riley.
I would be in for him, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Jalen
move that'll
loves him
probably
too.
he won't.
By the way, he coached your quarterback in college, and he was pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with the familiarity with
the whole
Jalen.
reason
I think
Jalen
it makes
got drafted as a quarterback.
I don't think that he
if
will.
Jalen left Alabama, Luke, he wouldn't have got drafted as a quarterback.
Oh yeah,
right?
I agree.
They would have tried to move him and switch him positions, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that what Lincoln Riley was able to do and help him away at Oklahoma, he changed him in a way where he was able to sit back in the pocket a little bit. He was starting to read defenses. Like, absolutely. I mean, great name. And look at you.
Yeah. I would be all over that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's unrealistic, but
proud of you, Luke, swooping in here a couple minutes into the game and immediately just come in firing off like Big Shot Bob over there.
But he needs consistency though. So like I need a guy that's gonna be. I mean, it's hard, right? Because you go win another Super Bowl, somebody's gonna want this offense coordinator too, right? But
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I'll take that.
It's unbelievable that Jalen hasn't had the same coordinator since high school.
Or consistent. He's got 9 and 10 years.
They said like consistent play caller. Because at one point, I think he started a season with one, and then it changed. And they basically said he's not had a consistent. And some of them were the head coaches were the play callers. He has literally not had the same play caller since high school.
I want the consistency.
Crazy.
Hear me out on this. I want the consistency, but then there's the other argument. Jalen is the consistency. Nick Sirianni is the consistency. It's about head coach, quarterback. It's never been about head coach. It's never been about quarterback, offensive coordinator. No, it's always been about head coach and quarterback. What's their relationship, right? And their relationship is obviously phenomenal. But when I tell you we knew all this stuff, like on how great of a leader we thought he was coming out of college, right? When we talked about the kid, because we talked about it a lot, right? Ad nauseum, obviously. And leadership was never a question mark. When I tell you that I feel like he somehow has tripled his leadership capabilities, like I look at, he's just the calmest guy in the country, right? We're body language cats. Everybody for my 42 years watching Eagles football, everybody's got a body language comment, right? Sixers basketball, body language. The dude is just bang, all the time. Did you see him talking to Devontae Smith after the game? Just holding him. The way he was holding him. It's like holding him like a baby. He's like, he's just resting his arms on. Like it was just this calmness. And listen, we thought we had franchise guys in the past. And this is how this shit works. This is how you find the guy for your organization for a decade plus.
And it's like
This
the
is how-
guy,
this
it's
is
like
how
the
you
least
find it.
expected guy.
Yeah.
Too, Tom. And listen,
Yeah, it doesn't
rightfully
always
so.
work that way, but sometimes it works that way.
Everybody across the board
Oh.
was critical of the pick at the time. It just didn't
Of
make sense.
course, of course.
Okay, everybody knew the guy was a winner, but it didn't make sense at the time when you just paid a quarterback
It made
who came
zero
off of
sense.
almost an MVP
Yep.
season. It was a really odd choice.
And look at
And-
all the other needs we needed to fill.
Yeah,
Well, and then-
this is
and
a
then you're
bad
talking-
football team.
You know, I think we do fall in love with this, like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, you know, arm strength, precision, all this and that. And I do think that, like, when you're talking about what is the prototypical franchise quarterback, and I think that is where the Jalen is changing the conversation a little bit. Of, is it just about, you know, combine numbers and combine abilities that translate on the field, or is there an extra level? Can you be a guy who maybe is, you know, the sixth most accurate guy in the league?
Can you
but
go
you're
on
the
drives?
biggest, you're the leader. You are
you got the sack to go on drives. Do you have the sack
Yeah.
to make a big play? Right? Like the little things that I don't give it. I've never graded a player. Okay, fire. I've never graded a player on goddamn data. And if you need data to grade what your eyes tell me, you're a dryer sheet. All right? You're the biggest sheet in the country. If you need data to define if a guy can play or not. Because if you got eyeballs and you're judging it, which I've done plenty of times in my life, all right? Can he play? What does his physical tools look like? Can he
And he
play?
still
And
gets-
the
and he
one
gets
thing you
better
can
every
never grade, you can never grade leadership. You can never grade intangibles. They're ungradable things. Certain things, your clipboard, right, and your Google Docs and all your shit can't grade out. It just cannot do it. So why? So this is a perfect example, like you said, Chrome. It's a perfect example of a guy who I don't care what his arm strength numbers are. I like what his velocity is on the football. I don't give a shit, right? I care. Is he a damn winner? Because every quarterback that's won a ton was Mr. Intangible. But he wins every time we needed it, Luke. We talked about it. We need a drive. Here he comes. Right? Like, screw the intangible. Screw the data. The data can kiss my ass. That's what I feel about that. Kiss it. I don't care. Like, at times it's needed. Sure, I like it. It's not the worst thing in the world. But at the end of the day, it doesn't define God shit. And these guys at the combine, they continue to do it. When people are, oh, you watch it, Tom? You watching it? You watch it? No. For what? For shorts and a tee, I watch on Saturdays. God damn it. I watch on Saturdays. Them selling me on shorts and a t-shirt. It don't matter. Look at the quarterback's arm strength. So I would look good. 42, I'm a man. I'm 40, and I would spin it around. Spin her around. Spin me right around, Morgan Wall, and I'll spin you around with you, baby. Right? So don't give me the shorts and the tee. I'll stink on Sundays. I'll get killed. All right? I might die at first play.
Listen,
So come on. There's a difference here. Oh, can he take a
like,
hit? Do his teammates like him? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of guy are we getting? It matters.
and listen, like everybody talks about, like, you know, you talk Lamar, they talk Josh
Whose
Allen,
birthday?
they talk Joe Burrow, right? Like, Burrow's got good numbers against him, but in terms of, like, Jalen Hurts has played 3 games against Mahomes, and 2-1, and the one game he lost, he was the better quarterback. He has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in every game that he's played against Kansas City.
You can
Every game.
argue. You can argue with me all you want about, like, because you just named the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. You can rank them however you want, right?
You could throw Stafford probably in there too in that conversation.
Sure, but like, so I think that the 5 are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Jalen. I'm putting Jalen 2. He's number 2. Dude just fucking wins football games. He's 46-20 in the regular season. He's now 6-3 in playoffs, 2 Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl MVP, and he's beaten every single one of those guys in the last 2 years. Every single one of them head to head.
Every one of them.
No, they're not going to talk about, hey, you know, it's a team sport, da da da. I don't really give a shit. He beat Lamar this year on the road. He beat Burrow this year on the road. He beat Pat Mahomes last year on the road and this year in the Super Bowl. And then you beat Allen at home last year, which was a phenomenal football game.
And
So
nobody
I
beats
don't
that.
know what to tell you.
And
Nobody beats
that.
Patrick Mahomes. He's beat him twice in the last 2 years.
Josh
So fuck
Allen.
Burrow
Josh
beats
Allen.
him, but Burrow doesn't beat him when it counts.
Yeah, Josh
Burrow
Allen
hasn't beaten him since 2020.
Josh Allen would wear Patrick Mahomes' jersey, to beat Josh Allen. Josh Allen is like dying to beat him and cannot beat him. And Josh Allen's a specimen, right? Like it's crazy. Like Jalen just has this it. Like I said, just wins. Like sometimes when all you care about is winning, right, or learning, right? Like sometimes
Well, that's the biggest thing.
Sometimes it's like I don't care. You don't care about his numbers. He doesn't. He doesn't. It's like an unselfish quarterback. Show me those, right? Because they don't grow on trees, babe. The unselfish guy that just cares about how many times can I be the last team standing, or how can I learn from it and get back there again, dude. This is special. This isn't done.
It trickles down.
Done. And Luke's still got to answer the poll. Holy
it does trickle down.
45 minutes in.
It does trickle down real quick too, Tom. Because
humans we are.
What is the one thing that you noticed when you heard everybody talk? We went through what Jalen Carter talked about. We heard Jalen Hurts. We heard Saquon Barkley, who, if there was a guy this year that, after all was said and done, could finally say, hey, I had this or I had that, not a single one of them. And that comes from the quarterback. And I truly believe, and I said to you guys earlier, I believe that the way I said this like weeks ago, when I look at those first 4 games and the way those games were game planned, I believe that they were done the way they were. Asking him to do more was because A, they did not want to put Saquon at risk, and B, they were so undermanned because AJ was out. Devontae missed time early in the year, that I think they were kind of backed into getting away from what they wanted to do. And there wasn't enough weapons there for Jalen to carry the team at that point. However, when this guy's been in, whether it was 2022 where he had a runner-up MVP, and he would have won the MVP if he was able to finish out that year. He would have beat Mahomes out for that MVP. If it was 2022 where he had to sling it, he had to make those passes and utilize the wide receivers. Or this year, he has always been about what is best for the team. And when he talks, it is never about him. And now every player, every single one of them after that Super Bowl, even at that point, not a single one of them, it was never about me or I or this. It was about we, they, these guys, my unit, my family, my teammates.
Josh Sweat's the only guy who was like, well, I mean,
I didn't hear him, so
probably should have been Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, did you see what he said before that though? It was amazing. And they had him mic'd up in like the third quarter. It was probably like 27-0 at that point. The game was, over, but they still had a whole quarter left to play. And he was talking about it before they were walking on the field. He's like, the defense has got to just win the MVP. And the game, there was still like a whole quarter left. He was thinking about that all game.
Well, defense, you could have gave if you could give the whole defense the MVP award. That obviously it was well deserved. Joe, this is what I said the other day to my dad when he was talking about it. This is exactly what I said, Joe. And sometimes we don't always agree on stuff, but you're spot on. I don't care where people rank Jalen. If we keep going to 3 Super Bowls every 7 years and winning 2 in 14 years, we'll have 6 Super Bowl rings, and other teams in the division will be struggling to get out of the divisional round. All that matters is winning. I don't care where you rank them. It doesn't matter to me. I don't get offended by it, because if I keep winning, the greatness is all that matters. The winning is all that matters. You go to Canton, you get 2. You understand? You go to Canton, you get another one. So you keep winning NFC title games, you go to Canton. Like, there's ways to get yourself the gold jacket. And at the end of the day, winning gets you there at the quarterback position. And I don't care what the numbers look like, because I told you what he was going to do. I told you guys he was going to combine for almost 300 total yards. And he did what, 291?
Yep.
Because the legs are the game changer. When I can break your back.
293, but who's counting?
293, whatever, even better. Go ahead, Luke, talk. Do this, do that.
It is the hypocrisy of everything too, real quick too, because everything. It's like people who talk out of 2 sides of their mouth, right? Like, we live in a ring culture, and the people who are supposed to be elevated is supposed to be the guys who win the rings, right? That's why Dan Marino's not in the best quarterback conversation, because he didn't get it done. He had one Super Bowl and he didn't get the job done, right? But anybody with eyes knows he's one of the most talented, top 5 to 7 most talented quarterbacks in the history of the league. There was a time where he was arguably right up there with Joe Montana, right? But at the same time, though, these people want to put Lamar and Joe and Josh Allen above Jalen at this point, who, big whoop, you got a couple of MVPs. None of you can get out of the divisional or the conference championship. Yeah. None of you can. And guess what? The guy you can't beat, who's living rent-free in your head, Jalen's outplayed him in every game he's ever played him in.
Yeah, it's time to put, like, listen, was I critical of Jalen Hurts throughout his career early on here? Absolutely. I mean, if you weren't watching. All right? He had to get better at things. And we talk about Tyrese Maxey at times, and I'll bring the same thing up with Jalen. He shut shit down. He shut mouths, right? Essentially, because he's gotten better at everything people thought he couldn't get better at. Right? And if you think about that, it's sort of remarkable on his work ethic. All right. And like I said, he shut everybody down. There was flaws 2 years ago, not 2 years ago, because he went to a Super Bowl. He was money. But his first year as a starter, even though he went to the playoffs, there was question marks. And if you didn't have question marks, you weren't watching. And that's okay. That's okay. All right. The next year could have been MVP if he didn't get hurt. Takes his team to a Super Bowl. Phenomenal year. Last year, I thought at times he regressed, and at times he was phenomenal, right? He won games. He went on big drives, if people forget. He did. And then they all went south because the defense was atrocious.
Well, including that losing stretch. He made drives at the end of some games and never got the ball back.
Yep. The defense was that bad. Where times we didn't even have the ball. And this year, and just because of the way we were set up, what do we say? If you throw under 25 attempts a game and you rely on the run with this defense, you're going to be one of the last teams standing. And here we are, because that's how good this offensive line is, running game, how good Jalen is, and how good these wide receivers are and tight end, right? I mean, these guys are really good, and we have a luxury of being able to beat you in different ways. And we can beat you if you want us to spin it around. We can beat you if you want to try to make Jalen run. We can beat you if you want to try to put freaking 5 guys in the box. Good luck, right? So we can beat you a lot of ways. So I can't say enough great things about him. I'm happy he's my quarterback.
Highlight heaven, real quick. I will say he asked about Jalix Hunt. Was he like hidden? I will say this: cross show love here. Our Eagles talk on Monday nights. Rob Brinkman was on Jalix Hunt before the season even started. He thought he was going to be a player for this team, and he did, especially the second half of the year in the playoffs. Oh. He found a role on this team. So he's a guy I think is going to be a big part of the pass rush going forward. And I got to give Brinkman a lot of credit, because a lot of people, when he said that, thought he was crazy.
Yeah, I think he's a starter next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so too. He looks unbelievable.
He looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna overpay Josh Sweat, and that's okay. You got to pay Milton Williams, and you got to find a way to play Zach Bowen on your defensive side of the football.
I think Bowen's going to be priority 1.
Yeah, has to be.
I think him and then Milton Williams will probably be second, and then if you can,
I just don't see Milton Williams, unfortunately, coming back. I just don't.
I don't know if he'll come back either, Luke, but I do think they might work on him second. If that makes sense. I'm saying I don't know that he's going to come back. He might be out priced.
I think Bourne and Becton are back.
I don't know.
I don't know about Becton. I kind of feel like Becton's a guy that's gone.
I think they love Steen. I think they love Tyler Steen.
They can.
I like him too. He was great, and people don't even talk about that. He played in that game.
I know Becton showed his hand, though. He showed his hand to me. He showed his hand to me.
I don't know. I think he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to get a lot of money.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
He was a dominant right guard, like dominant. He beat people up. He was violent. Like if he's going to get a lot of money.
But I also think the environment. He got a lot of money, right? He was a top 5 pick, right? So just hear me on this one. I don't disagree with you. Right? Because sometimes the player association will make you take the money too. Right? I don't disagree. So, but he got paid a good amount of money to be a top 5 pick, and then he came here after struggling, found a home, found Stoutland, right? Changed his career, and he's talked about like this is the best environment he's been in since high school.
Yeah.
Like and the friends and all that. That I feel like if you give him a good deal, he stays. Like he doesn't have to be like game changing. You just give him a good deal, a good solid deal. And I don't know what the average right guard makes
A
in
lot.
this league. Right? No, but I'm saying the average, not the best. Right? Like
Yeah.
an average right guard.
Right.
Like 3-year deal. Here's a 3-year deal. And I'll give you a chance to hit the market again.
The only reason I push back on that is because I think that he's their third priority in doing a deal like that because they have Tyler Steen. Like, I think they like him so much that they're not going to be able to afford to do that with all 3 guys. Maybe they'll be able to do it with 2, and I think that they would probably choose Milton Williams ahead of him just because they love Tyler Steen. And I think that that's probably the right thing to do in the case that Milton Williams would accept that. I agree with you, but I think that they just love Steen, that I think he's their third priority if they were to list them all out. I think you have to put Milton Williams ahead of him just because of Steen. I mean, he's played a ton of games this year, and even last year he played a decent amount sometimes. I trust him.
No, I trust him too, and I trust a lot of things I put under Stoutland. I mean, I would probably franchise Bourne because I don't think listen, he's phenomenal. But before I go long-term deal, can you do it again?
Howie doesn't really franchise. He's not known to do it.
Yeah,
which honestly is great, which is part of the reason he's great with the cap.
There's certain circumstances I think you might need to think about it more than others. And here's a prime example. Because again, he hasn't had the chance to do it before, and his first time doing it, he's sensational, right? But there's always that thought in my head: can you do that for another 3 years?
See,
I'm paying you top dollar. Can you be Fred Warner?
See, I also kind of think that that's one of the reasons why guys like to come to Philadelphia, because players hate the franchise tag.
Yeah,
and the Eagles are a team that are known.
I know.
To give, even if it's like a 2-year deal, right? They give 1-year deal to guys who deservingly need a prove it deal. Other than that, they give 2-year, 3-year commitments to guys, and I think that the players in the league appreciate that. Can we remember what was the last time that Howie used the franchise tag?
I don't remember.
I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. I'm trying to think.
don't know.
Deshaun Jackson, 2012.
Oh, 20. So there you go. 2012.
Holy shit. Wow.
Most recent recipient 11 years ago. Yeah. Well, 12 years ago.
Doesn't throw that around.
Hey, Luke, maybe I missed something, but what do you think about the poll?
58 minutes in.
I slightly agree. I think it's very close. And the only reason I think it's close and I won't fully agree with you guys is just because of how I think they will be perceived this year. And I kind of mean that in a great way because it's something to be very excited about. They have the 3rd youngest roster in the NFL. And you talk about like DeJean, who's 22, Carter's 23, Mitchell's 23, Jalix Hunt, who Chrome talked about, he's 23, Nolan Smith's 24. Like, these guys have the ability to be even better. So when you look back on these other defenses, like per se the Legion of Boom, you're talking about, Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Bennett. Like, these guys were, and, Von Miller in Denver. They had a bunch of other veterans on their team. They're talking about more established guys. And the reason I think it's a good thing is because when you look down 3 years down the line from now, that's when I think that they will be perceived as, yes, maybe a top 2, top 3 defense. I think it's the way it's perceived now. These guys aren't familiar with the national, perception of the game. Soon enough, they will be. And at that point, there's no doubt that they'll be top 2, top 3.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't disagree either. I agree and disagree, but as time goes on, you get ranked higher.
Like we
know
can
what I
say
mean?
that, but I'm talking about if you go
Yeah.
on sports talk radio, whatever, like they're not gonna in Denver, they're not gonna be saying, "Oh, the 24 Eagles are a top." They're not gonna be saying that. They
No,
might be
they
saying it in 2027 when Jalen Carter's 26 years
Yeah,
old
I
and
completely agree
DeJean
with
is
you.
25 years old.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I completely agree with that. It's a great point because when you go win another one, right, in the next 2 years and you dominate again, right, then you're on radars, officially radar.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this might be the best defense we've seen in the 2000s. Period. You know, these certain guys, like you have 7 guys still on this defense, right, that are that good, and then you go down. Then you go down in history. I always think you need another in anything too, even though I agree they're top 5 to the poll. They're top 5 for sure to the poll, but you need, to me, it's always another one just stamps you.
Yeah.
Right? It just confirms it. So nobody can say shit. Nobody can say shit about Jalen per se because he's been the 2. But I'm talking about, like, defensively.
Well, that great Ravens defense of 2000, they only got one because when they won it again 12 years later in the 2012 season, I mean, that was on Joe Flacco and the offense. I mean, their defense didn't do shit that year. I mean, hell, for half of that game, the Niners were fucking blowing them out. And then the power outage fucking helped.
The power outage.
Hold
on. Now you get to take. So how many of those 4 players are going to come back? Right? You talk about Josh Sweat, Milton Williams.
No chance Josh Sweat comes back.
I'm just saying Bourne and Becton. They're the 4. So how many do you think come back? 2?
2.
All right. So what 2? What 2 is everybody taking?
I think
I'm gonna go.
I'd say Williams and Bond.
I completely agree. 100%.
I mean, I'd love to have Becton back, but I think you do have Tyler Steen in the waiting. He's still on his original rookie deal. I mean, I know Becton's pretty young too, but I mean, unfortunately, obviously, you all know you can't pay everybody. So,
yeah, I'd personally like to have Josh Sweat back. I love that dude. I loved him ever since we drafted him. I'd love to have him back, and I feel like you gotta have Zach Bond back. You've had problems at linebacker forever,
right.
And that dude plugs in and plays phenomenal. So I'd like to have those 2 guys back.
Well, particularly with Nakobe Dean's uncertainty going into next year, and honestly beyond that, because it's a pretty bad injury. You want to have some kind of a reliable talent in the middle of the field, right? Otherwise, we're going back to a couple of years ago where just plug them in and we'll see how they work out. So, yeah, I would agree with that. I would say, I guess Milton Williams would be the one, but I think I'm the opposite. I think it will be Sweat. I think they could keep Sweat at a lower number. I think it's going to be Sweat and Bourne back. Like, I'm 100% certain I feel like Bourne's going to be back.
I agree, yeah.
I'm curious to see, because CJ's only got a year left on his deal. Is he going to want an extension this offseason?
I wouldn't be bad.
That gets in the Malcolm Jenkins territory too, where he everyone's like pay him, and because it feels like the right thing to do because he's such a great leader, and it feels like
he had
he's
2
been
years
part
and
of so
2
much
Super Bowls.
success.
I
know.
He's only 27. He just turned 27.
Yeah, he's.
I hear you.
He absolutely. He
hits like a missile. You got to bring him back.
Yes, he
brings that violence to the secondary.
Did you see him with Kelsey in the Super Bowl? He didn't back down from him 1 ounce.
I love CJ. He's awesome. He signed a 3-year deal, right? This was his first year back.
I was gonna say I thought he did sign a 3-year
I think he's got
deal.
we got him this year and next year.
I think he's only got 1 year guaranteed though.
Yeah. There's a potential
out. That would make sense then if he only had 1 year guarantee.
I'm gonna look up his contract, but I'm pretty sure the last year of his deal is not guaranteed.
I mean, I think you got to have Gardner Johnson. You got to have him here. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
I'm looking at it right now. This deal is phenomenal for the Eagles. Like if I'm CJ, I'd want the extension because he's only getting paid. He signed a what, 327, so what, nine a year. I'd probably want to get a little bit more, but if I'm the Eagles, I love this contract.
Yeah, and I would go. Bourne has to be back, just because what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And
All pro linebacker.
Yeah, like if he doesn't do it again, then it is what it is. But you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, and with this front, it makes it better for a guy like him. But I think he never had the
Dude, that's why I think I'm comfortable unleashing the bag to him. It's because of the front. Like, it's so, like, there's so much chemistry there, and I know what I'm going to get out of him with this front the way it is now. I get it. He's going to be a little bit older than these guys now. He'll be older later. But these guys are only going to get better.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'd rather keep these guys all together. This is the strength of my team.
Your middle of your defense wins. You went up the middle, right? I've always said this. You went up the middle. You got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, right? They're obviously extremely impactful. And then you have Zach Vaughn, you have CJ, GJ, who we brought up. Those guys are so important. And that's why I go Vaughn and Milton Williams. You know, gun to my head, I have to do it. These are, you know, I can only pick two. They're the two I take. I mean, Milton's 25 years old. So, you know, there's no reason to go back into the draft. Like, you drafted this guy, and you remember Tom Donahue wanted fist pump Howie after the pick, right?
Yep.
I saw that earlier today.
So I got a weird vibe that Howie remembers that shit, and Milton Williams is back on this football team, because I know Josh Sweat said, like, money isn't the end all be all. You know, it's got to be the right situation, and I like guys saying that. I think Becton's the same way. So I
wonder if his agent's saying that, though.
Well, I'll put it like this: so winning gets you paid too, in a lot of ways too. Winning brings endorsements. Winning in this city, winning brings a lot of shit. So be careful of the city you're walking out of when you can make a ton of money doing this stuff that actually gets you paid more in a weird way. So what I would say to Josh Sweat and Becton is, don't be surprised if Howie's got all four of these guys back. I mean,
here's a comment here, Tom. Here's a comment, Tom, from our old buddy here.
Oh,
Blue Meanie. We got to get you on at some point in the next couple weeks to talk Super Bowl. Blue Meanie, Brian Heffron says, Sweat was quoted saying money's good, but it has to be the right situation. Yeah. That's encouraging.
I just think he's going to get such a big payday, and that there's just nothing we can do about it. I like a team like New England and Washington, who have over $100 million, and someone like him hits the market. That's the number one need on your team. I think he's going to get a bag, unfortunately.
You know what I would do also? Just talking a little segue to the draft. I would give up 2 firsts, a third. I'll give up 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and tell me what else I need to get up into top 5. What do I need to do to get up in the top 5? Because I'm gonna go get a D end up there, and I'll just wreck some havoc that way. A guy who wants to be here too. So guys already hanging out with our defensive tackle, right?
He'd be the best. He'd be honestly as good as Jalen Carter is. I mean this from the bottom of my, as good as Jalen Carter is. He is unbelievable. He's going to be one of the best players in the NFL in 2 years. 2 years.
So
Abdul Carter said he's supposed to be the best guy in the draft.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you're referring to Carter.
Yeah. He's going to be the best player in the draft, bar none, hands down.
How do you get there? How do you get up there?
I don't see it ever happening, to be honest. But that would be absurd.
Yeah, no,
you got to convince one of those horrible teams to pick at 32 and sell that to their fan base. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. You got a better chance of getting Myles Garrett.
I would love Myles Garrett, obviously, the player, because he's ridiculous, one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to dip that much resource, also financial resource, into something like that, especially when, like, Jalix Hunt looks great. He looks really, really good.
But is he great in a full-time role?
No, I don't know. But we said the same things about Nolan Smith last year. And
different
Paid
pedigrees,
out.
but for
Well,
sure.
a lot of the guys
Yeah.
on the defensive line are rotating in and out anyway. I mean, if you have the quality and depth that we have,
See, I think that's one of
You
their
know.
first 2-round draft choices with ease. I think it's a tackle
they'll-
to replace
yeah.
Lane and an edge rusher. Maybe a defensive tackle, but I don't think so.
No, I think you probably go edge and then
Yeah.
CJ's last year of his deal, I think. I'm looking. I can't tell if it's guaranteed or not. The number that he makes is lower, which tells me they were probably going to have to expect to do an extension at some point.
I mean, if we're talking a little draft here, what about going after a tight end? Because Goddard's a free agent.
I don't know if Tyler Warren's going to be there at the end of the first round, but I love that dude.
Yeah,
I would
is
do
he a
anything
free
to see him in
agent?
an Eagles
Is he
jersey.
a free agent yet? I think he's a free agent next year. After next year.
Yeah, no, next
Yeah,
year.
CJ.
Yeah.
next year.
Oh, we have Goddard under contract for one more year, Luke.
One more year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
One more
I'm
year.
sorry. I thought he was a free agent this year.
Now, I don't know if he could be a starter, but I like Calcaterra too as well. So I don't know
like
that-
him, but
You know,
not
he
as
came
starter.
up. He came up big in some spots there.
Yeah,
He played
did.
well. He played well this year.
He's
When you
not
really
gonna block.
needed him.
He's not going to block anybody. But besides that, yeah.
But I think that I don't think they're rushing out to go and get a tight end at this point. I think that
Doubt
if
it.
something's there and it makes sense,
Right.
maybe they'll go for it. But other than that, I could see them waiting till next draft, the 2025 or 26 draft, to do that.
I agree.
But I mean, draft wise, free agency
I
wise,
mean,
You know what they're going to do in the
what do
draft.
we got
Their
21 million. So what kind of restructuring you think happens this offseason with maybe some players?
Well, you know they're going to
Who's
do
got big cap hits?
You know what they're going to do in the draft.
I
So they
don't.
have-
I
they
don't
have
really think
20
anybody does. Honestly,
No,
not
Jalen-
like huge caps.
that was
It's
something I saw.
AJ, Devontae.
That was something I
Saquon's
saw
very
discussed.
small.
The reason the Eagles are in such a great situation right now is because Jalen Hurts, honestly, now in comparison, really does not make as much as we talked about it. Going in this year, he was the 9th highest paid quarterback.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like
I'm pretty sure that the Eagles are in the bottom 3 of who their highest paid player is. I guess it would be top 3 because of having their highest paid player be the lowest number. The Eagles
Yeah.
are supposedly
It's
in a really
52
good.
million.
Yeah, they're
52
supposed to be in a really solid situation in terms of being able to easily restructure some deals here and open up a lot of money. The one deal that's going to kill them is the Bryce Huff deal because you can't get rid of him.
Oh,
Well, yeah, even
you're
that's
stuck.
bad. It's
Yeah.
only that cap hit's only 7.5 next year. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
and he's going to
Like,
get every opportunity to play
Jalen's
again.
at 22.
You know what I mean?
well, is it
Yeah.
possible you could just cut him?
No, well, your dead cap hit's going to be
You can't. Yeah.
huge if you cut him right now.
You don't cut.
No, that's 30
You
mil.
see,
dead
you
cap.
see if
We're
he
not doing
buys
that.
in. You see if he buys in. You know what I mean? You give him
You're
every
kind of
opportunity to
stuck
buy
giving
in.
him another shot this year.
You have
But
to.
you don't give him a shot because he just sits there if he doesn't play well, right?
Yeah,
So it's not
fine.
like they won't. They'll say screw you. We'll
I
go
mean, you
punch
know they're spending a top 2 draft pick on an edge rusher anyway,
either way.
especially
Either
if
way.
Josh Sweat's
Well,
gone.
that was the point I was going to make.
Yeah,
Is we all know what they're going to do in the draft. Whoever they don't re-sign out of those 4,
Yes.
I think they're going to look for that depth or replacement in the draft. If you can get somebody
except
in the first round,
Mackay, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that they're
Right.
comfortable with Steen, and I think
agreed.
it's definitely going to be a tackle. I think for Lane.
Hey, before I forget, let's credit this organization for making some tough choices, a la sitting Bryce Huff. They
Yeah.
knew he wasn't getting it done, so instead of just rolling him out there, they sat his ass on said, "Go have a seat on Mr. Bench and sit there for the rest of the fucking season if you don't want to play." And you know what? I was all for it. Not only that, the name's eluding me. The guy we got from Tampa Bay, Devin White. You know,
He's not here. He's not here.
he didn't fit, so they released him.
No, still talking Devin White. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's like preseason. What are we doing?
No, but it's great that he's making a
But
great
it's
point.
great
Though they're
that
not.
they made that.
Well,
They made that
they don't
move.
give a
They
crap.
know they know they
Well, they
made
made that
mistake.
move because they
So
made that move
instead of-
because N'Kobe Dean took that job.
No, I hear you, but instead of doubling down on the mistake
Right.
and playing
Yeah.
Devin, they went with the guy who proves that he can play. So they knew N'Kobe could get it done and
Yeah.
put him in there.
I don't know though. Their MO is they stick with their own guys. I think N'Kobe Dean had the inside track the whole time. There was high risk, there was high or low risk, high reward with Devin White. It didn't kill them to sign him and let him go. So no, I don't look at that as some big organizational pat on the back. That's a pat on the back of N'Kobe Dean, who after not really being
Oh no, I
able
mean
to
he had a
seize
great
the
season,
moment.
no
Well,
question.
either way,
But I
Bryce,
mean, I feel
either
like
way,
N'Kobe Dean coming out and having a huge preseason and taking that job, like I felt like he had the inside track. If he did that, it was his job to lose.
Right.
yeah.
I don't-
But I would say what Noah's trying to say, and I agree to a point, is
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Bryce-
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
like
they
Bryce-
made
the
some
Bryce-
good decisions.
the Bryce Hoff sitting 17 million down, right, or whatever the hell got paid, right? But like the like healthy scratch it is
Oh,
says a lot about like
let
you
him
know,
scratch his ass on the.
yeah, like you don't
that
want.
is funny. Did you guys
But
see the
that's
picture?
but I guarantee that's we always talk about Howie getting too involved in stuff, and this is where Howie deserves a pat on the back right here, right? Because this is all Vic Fangio. There is
1,000%.
There is nobody telling him what to do. You
Yeah.
don't want to play. You don't want to do what we want to do here. Here you go. So this is some old school coaches, some young cats, and I got a vibe that when you sit around and watch your teammates get a Lombardi, and you show the points that you can play at a high level in this league, watch for Bryce Hoff to have a decent year next year. Just a pulse.
Right.
I'm not telling you he's all pro. I'm just saying watch the polls come out. Like,
Here's
oh,
one for you.
you know he
Here's
still
one,
played there. You know he still played there. Yeah, like
here's one
you
for
know
you
he still
guys.
played.
Here's one for you guys right here.
Oh,
How about that photo on the internet?
That was great. I saw that.
Smoking a cigar in somebody else's locker because he didn't have one.
oh, just hanging
I
out.
forget whose locker he was standing in. And that to me, that was a decision that they made that I give them a lot of credit for, because he played really well for us the Super Bowl year. I know he had the play at the end of the game that was questionable. He did not have a good year last year. He did come in, right? And we talked about in the offseason being willing to do whatever. So it's not like he didn't have the right frame of mind to try to turn it around and make a contribution. But by the time he was healthy, this team did not force the hand and say, we have to use him because he's healthy. They were rolling with what they had, despite the fact that he had Super Bowl experience and he's played well in big games at certain points. And they left him, I mean, basically, like you almost didn't even know he was back. He was healthy for what, like the last 6 weeks of the year? That's when I give him credit on. And we all talked about it, right? We all thought he was going to be forced down our throats this year.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, we thought.
Bradbury, yeah,
But I mean,
you know,
the great thing is that they have to Slay's gonna be back next year, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So
you know what? I thought he tackled a lot better this year, and I think maybe some of that, where we alluded to earlier in the show, was.
Can I raise a question?
We talked about him. No, on here. He heard. He said, "Oh, Tom Arnold talking shit again about me not wanting to tackle." Yeah, I'm talking shit again. Now you
might
call
not like
yourself
what I'm
big
about
play.
to say. You might not like what I'm about to say.
What?
I understand we just got one into the Hall of Fame, so it's kind of a weird time to bring this up. But given success and given the fact that over the past 20 years, it's been such a struggle to get anyone productive at this position. Even when we won a Super Bowl 7 years ago, it was kind of mediocre at that position. He could go down, and it sounds crazy, right now today as the best cornerback in the history of our team.
Eric Allen.
In terms of success.
He's not better than Eric Allen.
Well, I'm not talking talent. I'm talking about the success that he had and the fact that once
Eric
he got
Allen had a
here,
pretty good career, pretty successful career.
I'm talking about the last 20 years. This one thing management has done a great job recently, but before this, not the best job.
Well,
It's
they had
secondary talent.
They always had good. They
They
always had good quarterbacks.
They had Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent in the
hell
early
yeah.
2000s. They were.
I'm talking Howie Roseman.
No, he's
That's
too
what I'm talking
he's
about.
too
this
young
era.
to remember that.
Okay,
though,
so
Tom.
you would say the last 15 years. That's what you would go.
I would say
Not
even
20.
longer than that.
Not 20, because they had Lito and Sheldon.
Yeah, Lito
So
and Sheldon, they
not
were
20.
amazing together.
It wasn't 20.
Sheldon
15.
Brown has my favorite highlight of all time.
Yo, we're semantics, Luke. We're
Pretty
semantics.
great
But
highlight.
15 years. 15 years. It's 15. To your
15.
point, but no, it's not. That's a lot. That's a lot of
Like,
time.
I would put him above a guy like Asante Samuel, who, yes, might be a little bit better than him, maybe. But, like, just the success, I believe, like, legacy-wise.
Asante has a ring. Just elsewhere.
Yeah.
He's got a couple, doesn't he?
He has at least one. Probably two. I mean, he played with Tom. I mean,
Yeah, let's look. Let's see.
he might have a handful.
I got you.
He might have a handful.
Not Junior.
But either way, he goes down as a great. There's no question about it, Luke. Wherever that ranks out, like if he comes back and they go
He's
back
got
to
two
another
Super
one.
Bowls.
Yeah, he's got
He's got
two.
two. Yeah, that's
I mean, Slay's got more Pro Bowls. Slay's got 6 Pro Bowls. He got an All Pro.
I don't know. I feel like everybody makes the
Pro.
Pro Bowl now. I mean,
Yeah, fair.
it's kind of a
how many
joke.
All Pros does he have?
They each have one.
No, I mean Slay's a great corner. He's a great cover guy.
I love Slay.
If anybody said he can't cover, let me know who you are. Right?
Yeah, he had a bounce back season, no doubt.
But the covering's never been his issue.
Yeah.
It's always been, do you want to tackle on the open field? At least I don't expect you to be freaking Brian Dawkins, man. You know what I mean? Just stick your nose in something. And like Noah said, he did a good job of that this year. He really did a way better job. After like week 4, after the bye week, he was way more involved, and he got himself hurt a bunch of times just by trying to go tackle. He was out again. He got hurt every 5 minutes.
Part of the game,
Like, all right, Darius is out again. Because remember, he got hurt a ton this year. He might have exited every game within the first 5 minutes.
Probably right, yeah.
And he came back in because he was trying to tackle.
I talked about it at the beginning of the year.
That's on us. We should have never told you that.
I talked about it at the beginning of the year when we thought Bradbury was going to be factored into everything. When you look at 2 years ago, I said this in our preseason conversation. I felt like Slay was going to have a good year because the best year that those two guys had was having CJ in the middle of the field. And the way that those three guys trusted each other, I felt like if there was a year that Bradbury and Slay were going to have bounce back years, it was going to be this year. Obviously, Bradbury didn't see the field, but I don't think it's a coincidence that CJ comes back and you got, an elevated version of Slay again. And I think a smarter player now at this point. He's not trying to be like he still calls himself Big Play Slay, but I don't think he tried to be Big Play Slay to jump the lanes and create the turnovers. He didn't need to because the secondary was so unbelievable. I think he took mentoring and trusting the young guys and their skills, and that allowed him to put himself in better positions to contribute in the secondary, to be a better tackler, to give up less big plays. And I think that's why he was able to have this huge year with CJ there and those young guys balling out the way they did and how much he trusted them. And he takes pride in being the veteran for those guys. He wants to be
that's the sell too of just like sort of his greatness too. That's
leader. Basically what I was trying to say with like how bad the position was for a long stretch of time, a really long stretch of time. And like when he came in, it was such like a relief. Like, oh my God, like we got somebody here. And like they overspent on a guy like Byron Maxwell because it was so bad that they were so desperate for somebody to come in here and play the position well. Yeah. And it just got out of hand.
Namdi and who else? There was another one.
That was a home run trade from Howie Roseman there.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was monumental to like certain things when I look back at how things went. Like the Devontae Smith draft pick. It's unseen now because he's probably like one of the 6 best players on our offense. But that's what started the core. Like guys like that.
Well, it's even deeper too. It like Crum sort of touched on it earlier, but it's deep here, right? Look at the relationships for long periods of time from guys. when you talk about Jalen and Devontae, that relationship runs deep. It doesn't get much deeper than that one, right? And their connection. Okay. And then you add in AJ Brown to that, and Jalen's relationship with AJ, and then obviously Jalen's relationship with Devontae, that brings them three together. You see how things sort of like the spider web starts to go here?
All
and then,
the Georgia guys.
And then all the Georgia cats, even Kelly Ringo. You bring in the best defense in college football. We've said it. We've said it on here. That was the best defense in college football in the last 2 decades, right? You said, hey, I'm gonna take up the middle there. I'm gonna take all your middle guys. I'm gonna take Jordan Davis, who can't be moved, and then Jalen Carter, who might go down the best defensive tackle in Eagles history. Okay, and then I'm gonna take your linebacker too, who was your team captain. And then hey, guess what? I'm gonna take an edge guy from there too, and Nolan Smith. So now, and he's another team captain. So now I just surrounded a bunch of team captains that were all friends together here. And now look at my locker room. Look at my culture, right? I'm creating a culture that way. And he did it on both sides of the ball. Jalen Hurts, team captain, leadership capability.
The SEC went to Philadelphia, and boy, it's
we talked about it. Go back to go where these guys are pros in college, where they learn from great coaches like Saban or Kirby Smart, right? And they're around that type of culture. And now you're drafting guys that are already pros, right? And are winners. All those guys won. Jalen won. Devontae won. Jalen Carter won. Jacoby, Nolan, Jordan Davis, Kelly Ringo.
They all have a national championship ring, and now they all have Super Bowl rings.
Landon Dickerson.
God damn it, I love it.
Landon Dickerson and Jalen's relationship, and Devontae's. And Landon Dickerson's a leader of this offense. If you really look at vocal leaders of this football team, it's Landon. He'll make you run through a goddamn wall right now. I'll run through a wall for Landon Dickerson right now. On fire. I'll run through a burning building for Landon.
After that NFC Championship effort in that first half, absolutely.
So, and his pregame speeches, oh, my God, if you haven't listened, and go enjoy one, because they are phenomenal. You guys listen to them? You guys heard them?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pregame speeches that come out on Twitter. Love those. Always great.
I'm even a bigger fan of how he backs it up on the field. I mean,
why wouldn't be talking about it?
That guy has brought it every week.
Well, I wouldn't be bringing him up.
No,
But again, Luke, team captain. So, like all the your point there and Chrome's point, like this, it's a spider web of relationships and winners and team captains and leaders and holy shit, Howie. Thank you.
Even go back to people forget that Bond played with CJ in New Orleans. You don't think that up the middle? I mean, I know he was a special teamer, but still, you don't think Bond come into a team where he's kind of stepping into his first opportunity?
And there's a guy
having
behind
a guy
him.
like I know when you got CJ in the backfield, he saw what CJ did week in and week out when he was in New Orleans together. You think that didn't help him out and boost his confidence to know that he's got this guy who has this talent behind him? Absolutely.
I freaking love Jalen Hurts. Did you guys think you would say that 3 years ago?
Nope.
Did you guys?
I hated the draft pick when it happened. It didn't make sense.
I'll be honest, so did I.
I told Howie, go now.
I
said, Howie, go now. If this is what you're doing, you decide the quarterback. You can go right now. I don't know what you're doing. Right? And
one of the most infamous things I've ever heard was the quarterback factory comment. Holy shit! When I heard that, I wanted to blow my brains out.
Oh, we used to have a quarterback factory shirt.
Yeah, that's great. But no, hey,
I was feeling the same way, Ryan. I mean, look, we had Carson here at the time, and what pissed me off even more was we had so many other fucking needs. We were coming off a 4-win season, for Christ's sake.
I feel like
credit to Jalen for proving all of us wrong.
Yeah, but I feel like Howie set that tone too. I think that's one of his.
Luke, hold on. Luke, did you think 3 years ago you were cutting nets down?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I did know for a fact because I loved him in college so much that I knew he was going to play. I didn't know that he would be as good as he is now. No one did. I mean, that's impossible to predict. I knew for a fact that he was going to play. He's too good and too special in here and in here to just rot on the bench like that.
I
Oh
think a
no,
lot
I
of
didn't
people
mean
thought
that.
he was going to. I think a lot
I
of
didn't
people thought he
mean-
was going to be a Taysom Hill.
No, 3
I
years
knew he
ago
was going to play.
But 3 years
I
ago
knew it.
he wasn't. But 3 years ago it's when he was our starter, like his first time starting, right? Like
Oh
that's,
no,
that's
you
what I'm
no
talking
one
about.
expected it.
That's
No.
what I'm saying. When
No,
he first
there were-
started, like what
Yeah,
did
there
you
were-
what did
there
you
were
think his
flashes.
ceiling was? Because I don't think anybody thought his ceiling was, hey, he's going to take us to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, right? Like I don't know if anybody had that ceiling for him, and rightfully
did.
so. But I mean, but you're right. The two things you can't measure here, right? And you can't measure those things with the data or any of those other things. And you can't measure the leadership capabilities that come with
And
that.
what's so cool
Oh.
and like kind of weird about like that is when you go through all these interviews that have been going on, there's so many of them, and it's him and his personality, but it's really the whole team too. And even AJ Brown's been tweeting about it. I feel like they have another game next week. It's unbelievable. Like in 2017, when they won, it felt like the biggest celebration and party and whatever.
Yeah.
And now it just, I literally feel like they have another game next week. Like they got to suit up again. It's insane.
I wish they did. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah,
Well, they
it's,
are
it's,
too.
it's weird. It's weird.
You hate to see
They ain't
something that
done.
magical come
No,
to an
it's-
end,
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
but
I
at the
can't
same
wait.
time, it's not as magical if it doesn't come to the ending that it did. So it's like kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, but guess what's the difference of this year from 2017? This year, you truly believe that, like, yo, we ain't done. We ain't done yet. Like, we're gonna be back.
Because they're young.
They're young. The
No,
core's
this
so
is it.
young.
In 2017, it was an elite story. This
Yeah.
is just an elite team. I mean, there are guys all over the place that were the best players in the country in college. People
Yeah.
talk about like all these guys,
Yeah.
like Quinyon Mitchell was getting offered tons of money to go play for Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean, the fact that he wasn't a first round pick doesn't make any sense. He was
Zero.
a stud, an athletic freak, and he's
Yeah.
playing your slot. And then
Dunking
on
on your
offense,
cousins.
you have
know
a
what I mean?
Heisman.
And I-
You have a Heisman winner as your second option on offense, and you have a beast receiver who's been to 1 seeds before he's even shown up on your team. You have offensive line studs. You have a Hall of Famer on one side. I mean, it's unbelievable just the talent that they have on the team. So like
Well, I
that was
think-
just an elite story. This is just we are the best team in the league.
Well,
Like,
I
we knew
think
it all year.
Well,
Yeah.
2017, it was a 2-year window,
good.
right? Like
So
we looked at
good.
2017 and 2018, but that's the difference. You had a lot of aging guys on that team, right? Even your core wasn't quite at their max yet when you talk about Kelsey and Cox, but they were starting to kind of enter that like back end of their prime, or what would normally be somebody's back end of their prime. And that was the huge difference because you had all your key contributors. Your running game was LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi, who was running with one leg. He had no knee. He had no knees left. So you knew like you were kind of like squeezing the last drops out of the lemon that next year. And then once Carson's extension kicked in, it was probably going to be rough for a year or two to rebuild. So like this year it's different because so many guys on rookie contracts that are like ultra contributors on this team. They're so young on both sides of the football.
Because you're gonna have
Like,
to make a
that's the
decision.
thing.
You go sign Milton Williams, you might not be able to sign Jordan Davis.
I was
So-
just gonna say
So
that.
you
I
have
was
to
just
make
gonna
you have
say
to
that.
make hard decisions.
Yeah.
Where like I could see Milton Williams not being here because I think nobody here is going to buy into this with me, and that's okay, right? But I think Jordan Davis's impact is bigger than Milton Williams.
I'm
think-
100% agree with that. I don't know how you can disagree with that.
I think you can find another guy who can rush the passer at a high level like Milton can, elsewhere. But you're not finding a tree trunk that you just can't move. You know what I mean? And you got tree stump, a big ass tree stump. Like this tree stump's 7 foot tall. You can't move it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's important. Chip Kelly, only thing he ever said smart when he was here. Big guys beat up on small guys. Yeah, I agree, Chip. Can't disagree with that one. But you're spot on. Like this whole roster. I mean, you got.
Is he back in the NFL? I
Yeah,
think.
he's
Is
the
he with
offensive
the Raiders?
coordinator. Raiders.
Who's that?
offensive-
Yeah,
Chip
he just
Kelly.
got-
Kelly.
He just got signed.
Yeah, he's a coordinator.
Yeah, with the Raiders. But but that's the only smart thing he ever said here. But Jordan Davis to me is more impactful than Milton Williams. So
Yeah.
I know that deal's coming up. Jalen Carter is going to be coming up shortly, right? I mean, not right now, but in a little while, I'm sure. No, we're in year 2. So what do we got? Another, is it 4 years?
Yeah, I'll probably get him
Yeah.
next offseason.
Yeah. So see, that's coming up. So, you know, if you're putting a gun to my head, I want to keep Davis and Carter, obviously.
Yep.
So Milton Williams might be a casualty if the money's not right. Makes sense. Like if he doesn't, if he wants to get paid like he's one of the top D tackles in football, you're gonna have to walk, right? Fair, guys. Like if you think he's getting that kind of money, but if you're getting middle,
I think he's going to get the Hargrave contract. I think
and I'm
it's
not
the
giving
exact
that.
same thing. You can't.
I'm not
give
giving
that.
that. I can't give it. So he might be a casualty here because there's other guys I got.
Now going back to your answer, I kind of think it's just going to be one guy that's back.
Yeah, I'm back to that. Yeah.
Listen, everybody.
I'm back to one.
Everybody makes decisions. How many times do we see New England make tough decisions on players?
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, Kansas City.
Keep your core.
Kansas City parted with Tyreek Hill and went around and turned around and got 2 more Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make tough decisions sometimes. You can't let, fond memories and that kind of, certain positions where you can maybe replicate, maybe not the same production, but a high level of production, handcuff you out of loyalty. Sometimes you have to make that decision.
Yeah, we couldn't even move Mosaic. He tried pushing Jordan Davis, Travis Kelce, and Jordan Davis didn't even move. Like it didn't even like a flinch. Like this guy body didn't even move. What a monster. What a monster. I mean, how do you not keep that guy around? I don't care what his numbers look like. He just clogs up shit. That's why you tackle well too. Helps you get to the quarterback. I mean, he doesn't need to play those downs. That's where you got to draft well again. If Milton wants Hargrave money, right? Like I'm not giving him that. But either way, you got to make hard decisions, like you're saying. And the key is to keep your core. So if you keep your core guys, then you got to draft well, then free agency, right? So that's how you continue to go back.
Well, I'd say Howie nailed last year's draft.
You're not going to keep you're not going to keep everybody. So you got to keep hitting draft picks. You got to find starters, right? And you got to stay. You got to be good enough in free agency, right?
Yeah, guy that I don't think this has been talked about enough. Like Cam Jurgens stepping in for a Hall of Famer at center, and just the offensive line doesn't skip a beat.
He's had
just
a great year.
Exact same things.
Might have been better.
Might have been better.
Well, at this point in Kelsey's career, like younger.
It wasn't close. It's sad to say, but it wasn't close.
Yeah, and Jason, I love him. He's an all-time great, right? But
yeah,
my point is like when you get younger there, you get faster, right? Week 16 doesn't hurt as bad.
Right. He was getting remember that Bills game, how bad he played last year?
Yeah.
Kelsey was horrible.
He was coming to the end.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, it happens to the greats. That's why he did it at the right time. He got out. He got out at the right time.
He knew it was the right time. And honestly, I'm not shocked, though. He was handpicked by Kelsey. Literally handpicked by Kelsey as a successor. And he had time to groom him. It wasn't a one-year thing. It wasn't, it wasn't even a bridge. He was here for a couple of years and really had a chance to learn from the best, to be able to step in. And listen, I mean, the Eagles line coach is one of the greatest of all time. Really is.
But I feel like that is a great example of why more organizations should hire people like him.
Stalin is unbelievable.
Yeah. No, not even Stalin is. You're right. I'm talking about having Kelsey trusting him to handpick somebody like that versus someone in your scouting department who might not want someone like Milton Williams who hasn't played the game or hasn't played the system. That's why when you bring back guys like Connor Barwin and the defensive line is just always consistent. And people need more guys like that in organizations. That's why you see DeMeco Ryans and Dan Campbell's. These other guys are doing well.
Yeah, because you need football guys to make football decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like baseball gets caught up in numbers and they get caught up in the dryer sheet shit, right? And there's no eye test. And I'm not saying that doesn't work at times, right? I'm just saying there's two ways. If you have two ways to use something, engage talent, then there should be a place for both, right? But I always think your eyes and former players matter, right? Like if a guy knows the game and knows what he's looking for, don't you want that guy helping you make those picks? I didn't even know that Connor Barwin's part of the scouting department.
He's a coach, but they do a ton of scouting and things like
Okay.
that.
I didn't even know he was a coach here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I saw him in the draft room last year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's
a
there
defensive-
helping in
Is
like
he the
training camp
defensive line coach or no?
I don't think he's not the
No.
defensive line, but
No, 'cause
he's
that's like
assistant of some
Clinton.
sort. Yeah,
Okay, that's Clinton
I
Hurt.
think
or
he's just
whatever.
like a team
But
rep
he's-
or something. He's involved.
Yeah, he's within the organization.
Well,
and
whatever. I
Those
like,
guys that you trust can make big decisions like that. Like that was a big decision.
I like a guy. If the guy's in the draft room, I like it. It means he's got something to say. So
yeah, he's
that's all I need to know.
he's since 2020. He's a special assistant to Howie.
Oh my! Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I love it. I love a little special assist. Look at this. This is new news. This is breaking. The A2D. We're getting out of here at 12 o'clock. I thought this is unbelievable. I didn't know this. I like this.
He's
This makes me feel good.
He's a player development director now.
He could just he's a player.
Yeah, he's involved.
Can I just make a quick statement here?
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament to how this team played in the Super Bowl. Aside from talking about post game comments made, and he had an all-time year. They were so good. We have not had a single conversation about Saquon Barkley in this show.
Yeah.
Oh,
We are an hour and 40 minutes in, and nothing game wise. And I mean, listen, obviously he's back, right? We know that's going to be a key element next year. Not a single conversation when we talked about that Super Bowl and the performance put on. And listen, I know the numbers weren't gaudy, obviously, from him. He did set the all-time record, so congratulations to him in terms of playoff. But
best player in football.
His contribution was just as large because of the way they had to focus in on him. And not only did he have the rushing yard, he had a pretty big catch that got them down with this 2-yard line, or I think it was.
Yep. And he had a big
in a
block.
very key moment.
He had a monster block on a blitz with John Dotson that was almost a touchdown. So he
could not be Penn State guys making big plays in the Super Bowl.
I could not be happier for a guy.
We are.
Franklin still couldn't win shit. He had all of them.
We are till we ain't.
Yeah.
And how the Giants general manager still has a job after all of this, it's a disgrace.
I'm glad he still has a job, so they can go win only 2 or 3 games next year.
Our boy Sean Spellman, he needs to take a little less time commenting about the Philadelphia Eagles, and he needs to go out there and start sending all those bullshit trolling comments over.
Yeah, he needs to attack his own family. I mean, like we don't shy away from this. When Howie stunk, we'll tell you. When Jalen Reagor was picked, and I could tell you on draft night he was going to stink. Okay, then Houston, we got a problem. This goddamn dog. He's wants to bang around up there. I think he's a fucking trampoline park in the house. This guy. But
I got my dog whining next to me too, Tom. So
yeah,
battle here.
I have mine on the couch back here.
This guy,
my dog's downstairs.
Yeah, you would have thought this guy fell off the couch like 17 times in a row. He just fall off the couch. But either way, like, yeah, this team's in a great spot to be back here. And the great thing about winning it is you get better odds to get back there than you do if you lose it. So we saw that. We saw that season because our Super Bowl hangover came late, but it came. Right? It came. It happens there. It happens to them all. It showed up. And losers 6 in a row or whatever it was. It showed. So, you fast forward to this year, you sort of get back out of that, right? And those first 4 games sort of was your feel out process of what kind of team you wanted to be, right? Going into the bye. What's our identity? Because every team needs one. Physicality was the easy one. And running the football. And there's where Saquon came in. And, dude, he should have been the MVP of the league outside of Josh Allen. I'll give it to Josh because he's tremendous with less, right? But Saquon's right there, like 1B.
Oh, yeah.
1A, 1B.
I think Saquon would much rather have a Lombardi trophy.
Doesn't matter. All these guys. It doesn't matter. They had one agenda. And we talked about it in dryer sheets and all these losers. And try to tell me, like, oh, you got to get the record. You get the record. You got to get the record. No, you got to breathe your players Give them a little breath. Give them a little breather. They haven't had a bye week since week 5. Get them off their feet for a week, all right, and prepare for what the ultimate goal is, and that's to win a Lombardi trophy.
Hypothetical. Let's say this happens this year, and it's the same exact thing. I think you got to let them do it.
I'm doing it again. I'm going to win another one.
I hear you, but I think this time you got to let them do it. It's something also the organization, they want that too. It sounds stupid, but they do. That's something that organizations like to have, a piece in NFL history that lasts a long time. So I think that, they would take their chances and roll the dice so they can get both. I think.
Well, maybe they'll get both in 16 games, and then they can sit them in the 17th game, and then
I hear you.
Bye. And
I would not be upset if they didn't do it. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you guys a quick question, then I'm going to hop off here.
Well, yeah, I'm going to hop off in within 8 to 10 times.
Yes. How do you think it felt to be Carson Wentz to watch the Philadelphia Eagles celebrate a Super Bowl?
Oh, I have someone worse than that. How about Kareem Hunt? I mean, that guy made a bad mistake. We'll leave it at that. Then the Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls without him. And they welcomed him back, and it was all nice and happy, 15-1. Let's do this for you.
Yeah, but didn't he win the first Super Bowl with them?
I don't think he did. No, because he was on the Bucks team, and he wasn't that Clyde Edwards-Helaire on that team, because he was on the team that they lost to the Bucks. I know that he was on that team.
You might be right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's not won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's kind of intertwined them.
He's the biggest loser. He has no Super Bowl.
I mean, but the history of like
Carson
to you had this whole thing, right? Nick Foles came in and won your and I'm still not a person.
The guy who took your job. It's the guy who took your job.
Yeah,
he took your job, came back, and the year that you go to this team and you think you're going to go and get another ring, and the guy that took your job dominated and won MVP in your face. Won the Super Bowl MVP in your face.
Follows you. Like, it's amazing the history of Carson Wentz. And it's a shame. It's sad. It's sad, right? Because physical tools, he had the gifts of physical tools, right? We obviously know that, right? But the mental side of sports can kill you. And
especially here.
Yeah, and then getting hurt and watching that is not easy. I don't care what any player who didn't experience says, okay? It'll bring out the worst in you. It can bring out the worst in you. And it did, right? It did. And the organization saw it, and credit to Howie Roseman, right? Because he sniffed it and drafted a guy nobody was really thinking was coming here. So, and it's history. And then obviously he follows him and then goes and beats him. So he had to watch it twice against the Eagles.
That's crazy. 30. That's gonna be a 30 for 30, man.
Oh, how Jalen Hurts just follows him.
Yeah, that'll be a 30 for 30.
The Eagles just keep getting him with Super Bowls. Where's he going next year? Because we're gonna beat them in the Super Bowl too.
Well, if we bring Frank Reich back, Carson might be your backup over Kenny Pickett at this point.
Would you take
that?
No, absolutely not. No,
I would
not. I said it before the season started. I would rather have Carson than Kenny Pickett as a backup.
You can't do it just because of the bullshit that comes with it.
No, we got the Mormon Missile. We got the Mormon Missile. We're good.
No, we'll win another Super Bowl. Hold on, we
right?
figured it out. You want a dynasty? Bring him back for 2 years, because all he's done is watch Eagles win Super Bowls from the bench. So this is perfect. Bring him back, and we're guaranteed 2 more, and he's got to watch it. Hey, we're going to make you sit here and watch it.
Hey,
we're going to pay you a lot of money.
Titles, and both titles he was watching from the sidelines.
Shit, dude, give me $3.5 million every year to be somebody's backup, be a great's backup. That's the easiest job in the country. Oh, you'll be Patrick Mahomes' backup? That's phenomenal. I would love it. Oh, it's easy money. Your body doesn't get banged up. You're just clipboarding.
Honestly, Joseph, that's who I would really want to probably bring in.
Yeah, I don't want to bring him back, though. All jokes aside. I'm good with Tanner McKee. I like Tanner.
I like McKee. If they bought a veteran in, I'm always a big fan of Jacoby Brissett. I wouldn't even mind a Jameis Winston. I think you get him cheap.
Oh, no, you can't do Winston.
No.
I got no time for that.
The key of the team is the turnover battle.
Tom knows for 3 years I've been begging begging to get Jacoby Brissett as a backup here. But every year it looks like he's going to be a backup. There's always a team that stinks, and he finds a starting job that he loses by week
He'll
2.
go back to Cleveland next year.
Oh my God, I would love to have him here though.
But he can win you a couple games.
He can.
Absolutely, and he fits like what we want to do.
And that's why I want him. I've wanted him for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm like, please give me Jacoby.
He's a guy you only want to throw it like 20, 25 times with. You don't want to try to throw
Pickett's going to be back. We all know that. I mean, they brought him here for a reason.
They
still gave up a third-round pick to get him.
I don't care. I'll take Kenny back.
Is anybody surprised that they didn't pull Patrick Mahomes at the end of that game there?
No, because
a little bit.
Because Pat won't let him.
I kind of thought maybe in the last couple minutes when the game was like 100% done, they'd maybe just pull him.
I think in a Super Bowl, I think in a Super Bowl you can't do that as a losing team.
Nah.
Like any other time of the year you can. Any other time of the year you can go pull guys, but that's like you can't show you're quitting, even though you're not quitting. Makes sense. Even though you're not quitting, you can't show it to new viewers. Like, look at this pussy.
Man,
yeah, I'm just saying. Like,
I kind of disagree because what if something, God forbid, happens there at the end with the way he was getting lit up by that defense?
Don't get rolled. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get
no matter what they did, they were getting rolled. At that point, I'm like, you know what?
No, I hear you. I'm just looking for a reason why.
I know.
Why they don't come
All
out.
I know, right? If I'm looking at this box score and I'm like, a few years from now, and it's 40-22, wasn't that bad. Mahomes threw 3 touchdowns, 250.
Yeah, it's gonna look like fool's gold.
Yeah. The real final score of this game was 40-6. I don't want to hear any of that shit in a couple years. So.
Yep. It was. Listen, it was the biggest. Nothing's been more exposed on national TV in the history of sports than what happened on Sunday. That's what we watched. I don't know if there's a more exposable thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the country that's been exposed. I don't know if anything got exposed more than what happened on Sunday night. Like, for everybody out there, it was exposed. Oh, live on TV. Drake got exposed. A lot of people were getting exposed live on television. This is amazing. We were part of history. We were part of exposing a dynasty.
Kendrick had more yards in his halftime show than the Chiefs did in the first half.
Yeah, he ran more around.
I said it 2 weeks ago when Mikey Buckets was having a meltdown over his fear of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Buckets don't know.
I said it. Patrick Mahomes going into this game, everybody talks about, he's this and that. He has these streaks. He doesn't turn the ball over.
That's cute.
He had in 4 Super Bowl games, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions thrown. 5 interceptions thrown. Came in, was at 2 more this time around.
I don't care who you are at the quarterback position. I don't care. In the history of the quarterback position, if you're getting smacked around,
if your O-line can't protect, forget it.
And that's why, listen, that's why we'll continue to be really good no matter what defensively with Howie, because that's where Howie does his best work. Is in the interior of both lines. He always has. And on the edge, etc. He's always done it, right, guys? I think we can all agree with that. He's always done it. That's why where he does his best work draft wise. And then obviously Cooper and Q come out of nowhere, right? But he, that wasn't necessarily his strength prior to this. So I mean, that's why you can sort of let guys like Sweat and Williams essentially go if they're going to get paid too much money somewhere else, and trusting that you can continue to draft well, and then fill that in free agency too, right? I'll give up 2 firsts for Myles Garrett.
You can fit him into the cap. I'll take Myles Garrett over and over.
I'm doing it.
I don't think I would do it.
If he's willing to restructure some shit, I'm in.
He would have to restructure a lot.
Well, let's restructure. You want to win? You want to win?
Wants to win, man.
How bad do you want to win?
That's
it's
my
the
thing.
money on
that's
top of the draft picks.
That's my thing, though, Luke. He says he wants to win, right? So if that's the deal, then
it's not a Myles Garrett thing, though. It's just like you have such a young core of great young players who are so cheap, and you still have all your draft capital in a franchise and an organization that is so hot in the draft. I just don't see it to be that necessary. I just don't. If you want to win, I'm sure he's right and he means it, but I just don't think it's a great fit. Just
I
because
just
of
want
that.
to do it because it'd be fun as hell to get Myles Garrett after winning the Super Bowl.
Again, if we did it, I would be I'd be happy. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's a smart thing to do.
And I'm not giving you any
lobbying for it.
players. I'm not giving you any good players either.
No, I don't think
Like
they
you're
would
not.
ask for that.
You're not.
They
you're
can take
not-
Bryce. I'll give him Bradbury.
Yeah, Bryce.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I'll give you anybody under contract that
We'll
stinks.
we'll match salaries. There you go.
Yeah, we'll do NBA talk. Right? The Sixers didn't want to do it, but we'll do it here. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
So-
I don't want to talk about them.
No, we're not.
Trading.
Yeah, I was gonna
We're
say
not.
I'm out if that's where we're going here.
No. We're
I want to say.
Eagles
I
all
want to
night.
say one more thing. I don't want to get off. The call that Kevin Burkhardt had on the Devontae Smith touchdown was absolutely poetic. He's like, "Oh, maybe the Eagles going to win some clock here, or maybe just throw the dagger and Devontae catches a bomb." It
Yeah,
was
he just did. Or go.
just
Yeah.
amazing.
I was.
And what a catch too. What a catch too.
I'll say, guys, I
Because
was a little
they
bit
had-
concerned. I was a little bit concerned with with Brady, and because I was very hot and cold with him this season.
Fully with you. I was
That
terrified.
team, I thought those two guys really called the Super Bowl really, really well.
Tom got
Yeah,
comfortable quick. Tom got comfy quick.
He started. I think he turned it on when the playoffs kind of started hitting.
Figured it
Because he
out.
was good in the
Figured it
conference
out.
championship too.
He was good.
They
got
did an
better.
excellent job during the Super Bowl.
I couldn't agree with you guys more. I couldn't, and not just because we won. Now I did. The only thing those two guys did wrong, in my opinion, is they kept acting like they had a chance. Like too much. There was too much of like, well, 24 is not too much. Like nobody said it was. But like the only thing Brady did great is Brady's like that first drive of the third quarter is the game. Like Brady kept talking about that first drive of the third quarter, and that's where he was spot on. Like you had it. They had to go get points. Right, and then the fact that they didn't, that's where he
was a wrap.
You know what though, Tom? Don't forget he was a part of that Super Bowl where what was it, 28-3 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen often.
It doesn't, but they got to keep viewers tuned in too, right? So
No,
like,
I
didn't
get
really
why
mind
you
that
have
so
to
much.
do it. I
didn't mind that so much.
No, I only mind it because that's what my job is to mind it as a Philadelphia sports fan. It's the mind that you just don't want to say, yo, they are just dominating up here. Yo, enjoy this domination. Like, you know what I mean? Be real, be transparent. Like, I want transparency as a fan. Like, this is, wow, the Eagles are just whooping it, right? Whatever, say whatever you got to say that's allowed, right? To make it clear. Like, boom, it'll matter, right? Like, the Eagles are boom, everybody, boom. Do something, right? Make it clear, because I don't feel like they made it clear enough that we were winning at times. It was just about the Chiefs can come back. They can come back from this. It's not too much. I just threw 2 picks. Guys threw 2 picks. Are you guys watching the same game? You guys
Back-to-back
watching the same
passes,
game?
by the way. That I don't know if he said that. Back-to-back passes. He threw those picks on.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back. Thanks. Told you it's gonna be tough. Noah told you more than anybody. Noah told you more than anybody.
Fuck yeah, I said 38-10. I mean,
last thing.
Garbage time aside, I think I was pretty close.
Real quick, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this too. But 2 things fast. How many? The Eagles win another Super Bowl in the next 2 years?
Yes.
Yes.
It's hard to say no.
I don't want to say all right. I don't want to say win it. That's hard. They will get to another Super Bowl within the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
Yes, at the very least. Honestly,
I kind of think that this Eagles Chiefs. I think this Eagles Chiefs thing. I think you're going to start to see some Cavs Warriors comparisons.
I would love to see.
I truly,
but
I don't think that there's. I don't think that there's a quarterback in the AFC that has the balls to go to Arrowhead and beat them, and I don't see anyone in the NFC currently, unless Washington spends their money perfectly, that's good enough to beat us.
Call me crazy. I think Kansas City's going to have a tough time getting back next year.
I don't think you're crazy at all.
I think next year, I don't think it's their year. I think they fall back a bit. And I wouldn't be shocked if they do not win their own division.
Shut up, Nate. All right, shut up. Knock it off. You knock it off now. Now I'll say this.
This guy, he doesn't
I'll
know
say this.
anything.
You know what? I'm gonna double stamp this. Right? I don't believe they just go and win one. Right? I believe they're back there twice. I believe they're back there twice in the next 2 years. And we're talking about them going for a 3-peat. That's where my head's at. You want to talk dynasty? We're going to whoop your ass up front. Because I want more of this smoke. I want it from the whole league now. I ain't saying 17-0 because I don't want that. I don't need that in my life. What I need is trophies, right? What I need is a dynasty because we deserve it. Everybody else has one. That's cute. Where's our little run, right? So I'm not saying we're winning 3 in a row, but I'm saying we're going to have 2, and we're going for the 3rd, and we'll see where we are. We'll see where the chips fall. Because I believe, listen, I can't believe I believe in the Flowers.
They're going to be tough, and I would be interested to see what San Francisco is next year.
I don't give a shit about Kyle Shanahan. He's a perennial loser. Right?
Oh, Debo's gone. I think they're about to pay Purdy $60 million.
Yeah,
I don't think
Niners
talk about it.
I actually would not. I would not be shocked if they sign Aaron Rodgers.
No, the current reports are that they're definitely going to pay Purdy for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Niners are fucked. Christian McCaffrey's another year older. Fred Warner's another year older. Like
Debo's out. They're trading.
Yeah, they're trading Debo. Who's their left tackle?
Ayuk had a really bad year. Pearsall, I like Pearsall though.
I have him in Dynasty. I like him too. But
I like Ricky. He got shot and came back quick.
Joel's
still not
had
healthy.
swelling in his leg.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. Come on.
All right. This is fun. Oh man. Oh, great time.
Go Birds!
Yo, Markel's back, by the way. Markel just is back in the
signed
league
Sacramento.
today.
Alex Bregman signed with the Red Sox.
Oh,
yeah. All right. I'll see you guys on Broad Street.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna clean it up here. Hargrave's gone. Yep. So great show, boys. This was fun. Everybody, Friday, enjoy yourselves. All right. Enjoy it. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's gonna happen a lot. And no, J Love, Phil's, they're not better.
Nope.
I don't even know who's coming out of the bullpen. Me, you, I don't know. We're got plenty of time to talk about it. We're gonna rev those engines up because I'll be all over stupid money and Dombrowski because you're here to win. So we're gonna be talking about some things.
Hey guys, on Friday, do me a favor too. Don't eat. Nobody go out there and start eating horse shit, please.
What?
Yeah,
like the last Super Bowl parade where they were eating the horse shit.
Yeah,
there's some dumb people out there. I'm not that dumb. I'll just be drunk. It's fine.
You don't remember that, Tom?
Oh my god, I don't remember.
Yeah, people were eating horse shit.
Oh my god, I do.
There was somebody who on video at the parade last time literally went and
you're just really hoping it's a homeless cat.
They ate horse shit. No, it wasn't. It was a drunk, dumbass drunk. So please, guys, no horse shit, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
be safe out there. Be responsible. I know that sounds silly
will.
To me, but
No, be a grown up. All right, Luke, set the tone for the younger generation.
I'll set the tone.
Let's not
gonna be ripping down
signs and lamp posts. Let's
vandalize.
Climbing poles.
Leave our city intact.
No, you do not vandalize. Don't vandalize. Like that's the dumbest thing in the world. That's the dumbest thing in the world. All right.
Celebrate without being an asshole.
Yeah, Nate, I'm checking it out. I'm in Phil's bullpen, Nate. There we go. All right.
All right. We love you all. We'll see you next Wednesday. I'll see you Sunday, and we'll be still smiling. All right. Love yous.
Right.
Go Birds. Go Phils. Sixers tank it. Flyers. I don't even know what you're doing. We're out.